Well, Charles, happy Easter. It's a beautiful day.
Happy Passover. I think that's continuing.
It is, yeah, 8 days. But we've selected an Easter movie for today. Joe Biden is an absolute flop.
I think he'd be lucky to be a flop. I mean, when I think about Joe Biden and I think about the degree to which China is now soaring on the world stage, as I tweeted out earlier today, I don't think about flop. I think about treason and traitor. I mean, I think the Biden family and the Clinton family and the Bush family and other families sold us out cheap. And China is now reaping the benefits of decades of leverage against our dynastic political families. After all, Clinton let them into the WTO, which was ridiculous. I mean, Bush and Clinton let them into the WTO. Clinton let the communists have Hong Kong, working with Tony Blair.
What was the reason for that? Like, what's
because
the
Chinese, the Chinese were talking smack. They're using the standard argument back then that they have, over 1 billion people, and eventually the force of numbers is going to offset any tactical or strategic advantage that a nation may have because of its wealth. In fact, when you look into the Hong Kong handover, you look into the history, I think it's Deng Xiaoping basically threatened.
Check out this guy on the left here.
Which one?
Behind you.
Behind me.
He sat down. He saw me looking at him. So before we get too deep into things, Charles, we need to just lay some things out for people first. You have launched your new Substack that people can join by going to charlesortel.substack.com. Actually, we forgot to do something that we're going to start doing, which is placing the videos on your Substack.
Oh, thank you.
We've got to have a little tutorial as to exactly how to do that, but until that happens, people can enjoy the First Amendment Forum on a variety of different platforms. I've been talking a lot.
Now be careful in here, Jason.
Odyssey.com.
No feet and no shoes.
/
This is like Needle Alley, sorry.
Crowdsource the truth. And of course, crowdsourcethetruth.substack.com. We've got a lot to talk about with Substack. A big dust up with Matt Taibbi first having an unfavorable interview on MSNBC, and then now leaving Twitter because of Substack doing something with Twitter's source code, and apparently there's been a breakup.
Right.
Matt Taibbi and Elon Musk are no longer buddies. Elon Musk stopped following him on Twitter.
Is that right?
I know this guy doesn't seem to like it that when he follows us with a sinister look on his face and we stop and look at him, he glares at us like, what are you looking at?
He's pretty unhappy, that guy. But so, just if I may comment on Substack, and thanks for bringing it up. I posted my first lengthy introductory post free for all readers. And I'm drawing the distinction between what I call browsers and subscribers. So browsers can look at the free stuff, and only the subscribers are going to get to see the very detailed supporting reports. Now, I'm going to try to make it interesting for the people who can't afford to pay, and so I will have summary level stuff, but if you want the real details on why I'm making the argument that so many of these complex organizations that say they're charities are in fact frauds, and that further, there has been a massive actual conspiracy by government authorities at state, local, federal, foreign level to cover up the true extent of these charity frauds. Why? Because government officials who have to get elected need to come up with a lot of cash to run their campaigns. And charities, leaky non-existent charities are excellent ways, in quotes, to source money from donors who don't want to contribute after-tax money to a political campaign and be subject to the low limits that are inherent in that, but instead want to send large amounts of money, in theory, towards politicians in their leaky charities. These are perfect ways to purchase influence with the crooked people who sit atop of many parts of the many governments and who can decide either to prosecute you if you're a political enemy or somebody who's not willing to pay up, or to give you illegally a pass on blatant crime. So it's a very big thing. When I started on this back in 2000, I think it was 16, I said it's a $100 billion issue with the Clinton Foundation alone. It's in the trillions. And
Yeah.
so I will demonstrate that. We've been talking about it for years, but I'm now going to put it down in a more, let's let this guy pass maybe.
Well, let's just go down here.
All right.
Out of the
So,
God. Sound problems happening. Oh my God, I am going to flip my friggin' lid.
don't.
I am going to scream. I cannot believe this problem is continuing. Wow. After a successful test the other day, I cannot imagine why that is still happening. Oh, God, I'm gonna flip. Well, wow.
Which
Okay.
Better?
Yeah, I've recovered it. Hopefully that didn't create a problem for us. All right.
Right. So as I was saying, what I'm going to be doing is typically once a week, I'll be doing 2 posts on a certain day, one free and one paid. I may, in addition, do bonus posts. They may be free, they may be paid, they may be both. And we're going to tell quite a story here, giving people who may not be as familiar with the laws and the regulations and accounting and other issues the tools they need to push government regulators, charity raters, donors who may think they're donating to a legitimate charity, but who will be shocked to see what we know, what we all will learn together about some of these charities that pretend to exist, that pretend to do good works. And the goal here is to motivate, to continue to help public opinion evolve, to tilt the balance of power away from the charity fraudsters and towards the forces of good. Because actually, in my experience, talking to people who give to charities, and I know many, and I'm sure you do too, most of the people who believe they're giving to charities are doing good work. They're donating to charities that actually adhere to the law, and that are engaged in great pursuits. The really serious donors give anonymously.
Right.
Because, as you know, that's, speaking of Passover, that is, I think, an ancient, well, it's enshrined, I believe, in Jewish tradition,
It's a
right?
mitzvah.
Right, and that you cannot, it's tougher, I would say, or even impossible, legitimately, to claim that you're actually giving if you're at the same time taking credit for your act. Makes sense. Now I begin this post that people can see. Some kind folks have already tweeted it out with a quote from the great, and I really do mean great, Francis Bacon.
the what?
The great Francis Bacon. For people who have not studied enough history, Francis Bacon
There's
was
a lot of
Jesus.
people broadcasting music that they're
Right.
not supposed to be broadcasting that's going to attempt to monetize our
Right.
video here. I like to talk over it when it comes up
Sure.
like that so that it becomes more difficult for the AI
Sure.
to detect. So Francis Bacon,
So
what did he do?
Francis Bacon, there's something called the Dictionary of National Biography, which is a publication that focuses upon the greatest figures in British history.
God.